Alright, so I'm going to show how to replace the keyboard on this 15-inch mid 2015 model A1398 MacBook Pro. So first what you're going to want is a P5 or Pentalobe 1.2 screwdriver, and we'll remove all the bottom screws here. Okay, so just remove all of them, keep them in order because they are different sizes, shapes, and lengths. This goes for every computer you work on. For this one, the two back ones here are shorter. I believe the rest are about the same, but I like to keep them in order anyways, because sometimes there's some minor differences that can cause problems if you switch the screws around. Okay, so just remove all these screws. Alright, so 4 at the top, 2 on the outer sides, and then 4 more at the bottom. Okay, you want to make sure that you have yourself grounded and the computer is off. So by grounding, I mean touching something metal, make sure that there's no static buildup. Right now my knee is actually against my metal desk to kind of prevent any static buildup. Okay, so do that. Alright, then we'll pull the cover off, just go towards the back and then just grab it, wiggle it, and pull it up like that. So it is pretty dusty. I'm going to have to clean this up. But once you do that, you want to disconnect the battery. So I've done a lot of these models. So to disconnect the battery, what you do is lean it up, or so I can show you. Oops, that rubber piece fell out. Normally this is held in with adhesive, so these don't come out so easily. These rubber pieces, the one that fell out. But I'm just going to take it out since it looks like they're loose. They must have had their screen replaced or something. Alright, so what you want to do is underneath here, as you can see underneath the tape, there's a little plastic layer that we have to pry up. So usually I don't do this while the computer's up because then I might drop it. Usually I will have it on the desk, but just to show you, just get underneath that plastic piece and then do it like this. You just pull up on the both sides like that, right? And then the battery's disconnected. After you do that, you want to open up the computer, press and hold the power button for about 10 to 15 seconds just to drain any power, and that will prevent damage from happening if there happens to be something metal dropped on it or anything like that. Alright, the most important thing is if you're disconnecting the LCD or LVDS connector here, you do want to press and hold that power button. Okay, I'm going to clean up the dust in here and I'll be back. Alright, so I'm back, cleaned it up a bit, alright, scrubbed off most of the dust. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is check the keyboard connector because they were just having some problems with a few letters. So I'm going to try and see if cleaning this, sometimes cleaning the keyboard connector will help. Oops, I need the little toothbrush, I'm going to be back. Alright, so I'm back, I'm going to try and brush this off. Sometimes you get lucky and you don't have to replace the keyboard and it's just something got some corrosion or dirt on it. So let's try this real quick. So let's plug that back in. Okay, make sure it's plugged in all the way, put the latch down. I'm going to push the battery connector back in place. Put this cover back on. Do a PRAM or SMC reset, PRAM reset, assuming it's gonna turn on. Come on, there we go. PRAM reset, okay, that's working. Alright, come on, boot up. Okay, nope, still broken. Okay, so we are going to have to replace the keyboard. So shut it back down, close it up, put that off. Alright, so we're going to have to disconnect the battery again. Okay, just like that. And what I want to do, I'm going to actually test the other keyboard to make sure it is a keyboard issue. So I know which keys are actually bad, so I'm going to retest those with the new keyboard plugged in. So So you do, you just pop this up, the latch, pull the cable out. Okay, so the new keyboard's gonna go like this. I want it lined up the same way. So the keyboard will actually plug in this way. So I'm gonna plug the keyboard in first just to make sure. Okay, just like that. Line it up, make sure the cable goes in nice. Okay, just like that. Latch that back down. Push the battery connector back in. Now the power button is on this keyboard, so I have to make sure to push it on there. Okay, fans are spinning up, so we know it's working. And then I just got to test the few keys that weren't working. Okay, those are all working. It's always a good idea. You can actually test all the keys. Oops, okay. So you can actually test all the keys if you want, but I'm going to have to assume they all work just for the sake of time. But yeah, usually you can test all the keys to be safe. Right now, I'm not going to do that in the video because that takes too long. So anyways, open it up, press and hold the power button again. You want to make sure that the screen is open because sometimes when it's closed it doesn't register the keys, okay? So press and hold. Okay, it should be good. Let's pop the latch up and then pull the connector out. Alright, so we confirmed it's a keyboard issue, not anything on the board. So now we're going to have to take everything out and then swap the keyboard. I don't remember. I think this model we might have to also take the battery out, which is going to be a pain. So we're going to take the, not the P5, we need to switch to the T5 screwdriver. Alright, we might also need to use a T8, but let's see if we can do it all with the T5. Okay, so lift this up. You want to be careful because there's the trackpad cable hidden underneath this. So we're going to peel this plastic up. Okay, there's two layers. You want to make sure to separate the two layers because I believe the trackpad cable is sandwiched in between. Sorry if I'm going out of view. It's hard to record this and do what I'm doing. But you want to hold down the bottom layer with one finger and then peel up the other layer with your other fingers. Okay, just like that. And here you can see the trackpad cable runs underneath like that. Okay, so what we're going to do, you can take these rubber pieces off. Normally there's adhesive underneath, and then what I do is I take the screwdriver and I'll get under the rubber and then pry it up. So that way the adhesive stays in there. Okay, so do that. Okay, we're gonna actually disconnect the screen first. So first thing, flip up this little latch. Okay, it's so hard to do now. I cut my other fingernail. Let's pull that back just like this. Okay, move that out of the way. Flip this rubber piece up. There's gonna be adhesive, but yeah. And then we're gonna take out these connectors. So you just go from the tail and pull them straight up, just like this. Okay, I'm not going to take out the wireless card. There's like a slight adhesive thing. Well, actually, I might have to take the fan out easier. Anyways, get underneath this cable. There's an adhesive holding that down. And then to unplug the, this is the webcam cable or the eyesight camera cable. You kind of just wiggle it as you pull it, okay? You don't want to wiggle it too far or you can break the cable, just barely, okay? There we go. Then you got this cable. Kind of wiggle it and pull this out. I am going to actually take the screen out, so we're going to switch to a T8 screwdriver. Well, I probably should have finished with the T5 one first, but take the T8 screwdriver, open the screen all the way, so I'm hanging it off the desk but opened all the way. Alright, and we're going to take out the screws here. Looks like this would benefit from some thread locker because these screws were loose, so whoever replaced the screen before, they didn't add thread locker and the screws are actually super loose. Yeah, they came out really easily. They shouldn't be that. Oh, this side's a little bit better. The other side was like really easy to come out. Okay, so just take these all out. Just like that. Okay, then we got to switch back to the T5 screwdriver because there's little, I don't know what you would call those, brackets, I guess, that hold the hinge mechanism in place. so take that out. Okay, I don't know if you can see it, but it's this piece. Let me let the screens hang down. Okay, so there's this. Oh, it's so hard to get out with. Come on. There we go. So it looks like this, and that thing just goes over the hinge mechanism. Okay, so take it out on both sides. They are different on each side, so make sure you don't mix them up. You do want to put back the same one in the right spot. Okay. Alright, so then after you do that, you can lift the screen out. You might have to wobble it a little bit or pull it, open it slightly at an angle like this, and then kind of wiggle it up. Alright, we're going to set this screen aside. Those screens are extremely expensive, so be very careful with it. Okay, and now we're going to remove all the other screws. Okay, so we'll lift this up, this side. I don't remember if I needed to lift that, but we'll lift that up. Alright, so again, you want to keep all the screws in order because they are different size, shapes, and lengths. And I believe everything else that we're going to be taking out is just using the T5 screwdriver. So we're going to remove the 2 screws holding the charge port in place. Okay. Get those 2 out. Alright, then we're going to remove, I'm going to try and go in order. We're going to remove the fan screw, or this screw that's holding the heatsink down, this part of the heatsink down. Okay, and I put the screws in the same layout that I'm removing them on my desk, but like closer together, so that way I can tell where the screw came from, so when I need to put it back, it's a lot easier. Alright, get that screw out. Okay, then we got the 1 screw here. They're missing one of these tiny screws. I wonder who worked on this and took the fan screw out, because usually those things hold in really strong. Okay. So we got all those screws out. Oh man, something is like, this is like sticky. Okay, that's weird. Alright, so we got all those out. What we're going to do is lift up this little latch, just like the keyboard one. And then you can use this raised part to kind of push the fan connector out, and it comes out just like that. Alright, so I don't know where that 1 mini screw is, but we're going to set that fan up there. Okay. The speaker, to remove that, it's harder to do without my nails. I have to use my middle finger, but you do that, get underneath as close as you can to the connector, and then you kind of pull it and twist it up. There you go, just like that. You don't want to use too much force or you can break the plastic there. You also want to remember to disconnect this. This is the microphone cable. So to remove that, you might have to use something small like a needle. I just get underneath that cable, and then I use the needle to kind of help as a lever to pull it out like this. You might have to wobble it a little bit. Oh man, come on. And also push it down a little, just like this. Okay. And then once you get the cable out, you can kind of fold it back so it stays away from the board. Okay. We're going to remove the 2 speaker screws. There's one in the corner up here and then one down here. I'm going to keep those separate from the rest of the screws. Okay, and I'm going to remove those from both speakers. Yeah. Okay. Okay, remove the other speaker screw here. Alright, now we got both speaker screws out. Okay, we're going to continue going from right to left. You don't have to do it in this order, whatever helps you remember what you're doing. Alright, so we're going to take out that screw, and take out the screw down here. Okay. And we're going to go underneath here, remove the screw holding the battery connector in place. Okay. Then we're going to remove these 2 screws holding the bracket for the touchpad in place. Alright, both those screws. Then we'll take the metal bracket off, set it aside with the screws. Alright, the connector, you just pop it up, go underneath. I use my fingernails, you can use plastic pry tools, and you kind of wiggle it as you pull it up. And then you don't want to crease the cable, so you want to kind of pull it to keep it flat while you're kind of pulling it up, just like this. Okay, I'm going to disconnect the cable, though technically you can just leave it in. Flip up the latch, flip up the latch down here, holding it in place. There's an adhesive holding it in, so you kind of have to wiggle it out. There we go, just like that. You can see there's this cable has adhesive all over it. So we'll set that aside. Okay, then we're going to go to the other side of the battery connector. Peel up the adhesive a little bit, and here you can see this connector here, or the screw here. Remove that screw as well. Okay, after that there is the speaker connector here, but we can leave that for now. We're going to go ahead and remove the screw up here. Okay, oops. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and, I guess we'll remove the wireless card, just take that one screw out. Okay, I'm going to set that aside separately so it's easier to keep track of. So you want to lift the wireless card up like this. Once you do that, just grab the side and then you kind of wiggle it as you pull it, just like this, and it comes out. So this is why it sticks. There's this thermal pad here. I'm going to use a toothbrush and clean off the thing. A lot of people are like, oh no, you're touching the pins. Don't worry about that. As long as your hands aren't covered with like gross stuff, the oils aren't going to really affect it too much, so you don't have to worry about it. Okay, I'm just going to clean off the dirt and gunk that's on it. So people that worry, this pad thing here is all greasy too, and it's all on the electronics, so you don't have to worry about it. It doesn't cause much issue. Alright, so we'll set the wireless card aside. Okay, then we're going to want to remove the screws for the fan. So there's one up here. Uh-oh, this bracket that's supposed to mount it is broken, so I'm probably going to have to solder that bracket on. So now we're going to remove the two screws here holding this little cable connector in place. Okay. Take the metal bracket, put it with the screws. Right, we're going to take out the SSD and then set that separately. Okay, same thing as the wireless card, lift it up slightly and then kind of wiggle it as you pull it back, just like that. Here's the SSD, it's all dusty, I'm going to clean it off. Okay, it's a lot better now. So we'll set that aside. There's one screw under here, don't forget that one. Okay. Just like that. Alright, let's see. So we're going to take out this bracket here. There's a lot of screws again, so make sure to keep track of it. If it helps, you can take pictures of it, but I don't feel taking pictures helps too much. Okay, let's set this stuff aside a little bit to make more room for the other screws. Okay, so I'm going to take out these three that go down this line. Okay, we took out that one. Alright, so I'm going to set this screw here. I'll take out the one that's holding the fan here. Take out the other one holding the fan. Alright, so we've got those three. I'm going to take out these two holding this bracket in place. Okay, just like that. Take the metal plate off. Alright, now we can pop this connector up. Just kind of wiggle it like the other one. Just like this, and it pops out just like that. This one that has the crease on it goes to the left. Keep that in mind. You don't want to switch it around. You'll know because then it kind of covers the fan a little bit. You don't want it to do that. Okay, so now we got the fan screws out. This one again is stuck, so I'm going to have to use some pliers to remove that thing and then solder it down to the board. So same thing as the other fan, flip the little latch up there and then use the raised part to push it out. Okay, just like that. So you can see this piece broke. I am going to have to solder that on. If you don't know how to solder, you can use like JB Weld or something, but it won't hold as well. So if you can, I highly recommend soldering it. Okay, I'm going to try and take the screw out if I can. Okay, so it worked. I'm just holding the bottom and I'm undoing the screw here. Okay, just like that. Set that screw aside. I'm going to solder this down. Set this fan aside. Put this over here for now. Alright, then we're going to have to unleash this connector. This is basically like the screen cable. So you just flip up that little latch and then you use that latch to kind of pull the connector back and out. Okay, kind of have to do it at an angle like that. Right, then we got 2 more screws here. There's so many screws on this thing, so need to kind of move stuff aside again. Alright, so take out that one screw and then the other screw all the way up here. Alright, once you got all those screws out, you can lift this board up just like that and pull it out. It's all dusty underneath, of course, so I'm going to clean this as well. Oh, it's really dusty inside here too, so I'm going to have to use something to blow that dust out. Maybe I'll use my air blower and clean it up. I'll try with the handheld portable thing. Okay, they probably never use these things because it's so dusty in there. I don't think they would work if they actually used them. Okay, some stuff stuck in there, so I'm going to have to use a needle and get that dust out. Hopefully it all comes out. It's kind of stuck. There we go. There we go. We picked out that ball of dust. Okay, the rest looks okay, so we're going to set this aside. Alright, so, oops, knock everything over. Okay, so we got all of that. I'm going to move this cable and stuff out of the way. I got too much junk all over my desk. Okay, so now we should be able to lift the board up. Oh, don't forget this. I believe that's the keyboard backlight cable. So what you want to do, just get your fingernail underneath there or plastic pry tool and then pop it up. It's hard to do this with my non-index finger, but here you go, just like that. Popped it up. Move it out of the way. Okay, let's see here. This is stuck to something. I think they spilled liquid or something on it because it shouldn't be stuck like that. I don't see any other screws holding it. So, yep. Just kind of have to pry it up slowly and carefully. We do also want to remove this keyboard connector here. So if you can, I'll just use my screwdriver. Try and do it as close to the connector as you can. And then you kind of just pry it. It's kind of a little tricky, but there you go. Once you get a little piece of it, you can kind of use your fingernail or pry tool to get underneath and then pull the rest out of the way. Okay, just like that. Alright, this shouldn't be stuck like this. This part should come up first, so I'm going to try and lift it slowly. There we go, just like this. Okay. This side's also stuck for some reason. But anyways, you lift it up like that, okay. You go from the left side, make sure to get all the connectors out of the way. Oh, I am going to have to take the battery out. And then slide this back, okay, just like this. And the charge port and everything will come with it. So that's how you remove the logic board. There's not really anything you can do here except replacing this cable, unless you know how to do like some soldering and stuff, but I don't even do anything with that. So if you're watching this video, you're probably, and you know how to do that, you're probably more than advanced than me at that part. So yeah. Alright, so I'm going to just clean off the dust here. Sorry, I know it's out of camera, but too much work to keep pausing and restarting the video, so get what you get. Alright, so I'm going to leave this, and now I'm going to solder this piece back on. So this little metal piece just goes here, and we basically just have to heat it up really hot with the soldering iron to get it melted in place. So I'm going to get the soldering iron. Now, you might have to add a little solder or flux in there The flux will help the solder. I have a little syringe filled with like solder and flux that will make the job a lot easier, so I'm going to use that, but you can use what you have. Right, so I got this solder flux stuff. I'm going to just add a little bit there on all around. Oh, it's kind of, I need to wipe that part off because it's dried up. Okay, so we get some new solder flux out just like this. Doesn't need too much, just enough to kind of hold it in place. Okay, just like that. Okay, go. I'll get my soldering iron. My soldering iron already has some solder on it, so let's see how it goes. I don't need the solder. The solder will just help transfer the heat into the little piece that broke off. Okay. Turn this on, let it heat up. If you can, it would be good to use something to hold that little piece in place. What do I do with it now? Too many things at once. Okay. So, what do I do with that little metal piece? I'm gonna have to look for that metal piece and then I will come back. Let's see. Put it down somewhere. Oh, here we go. Thought that was part of the keyboard. So, alright. So basically, we're just gonna line this up, stick it back on top. Right. Alright, get it all lined up. You can use the screwdriver to move it around, make sure it's lined up with the circle pad that's there. Okay, just like that, it's all lined up. Then take the soldering iron once it's hot enough, and you should be able to just heat it up around there. So I just touch on the edge of it. Oops, it's moving around. Might not be hot enough yet. Be careful not to get the solder into the hole of the screw, the thing, or you'll never be able to put the screw back. So let's heat this up. Oh, I'm gonna have to this is tough to do while on camera. Let's see if I can use this to move it around and get it in place. Okay, when you get a little solder on that thing, it helps transfer the heat a lot better. So let's, come on, melt it. Hopefully it's lined up right. So you just have it held down there. Oh no, it's moving around too much. Come on, stay in place. That. Okay. It moved and it fell off now. Shoot. Come on, remelt. So the solder melted and it moved over, so now it's going to be tough because I have to remelt it and then move it over. Come on. It's stuck. This one, it's good if you have like the soldering air station. Sorry, my head's getting in the way. Go. Okay, make sure it's held in the right spot, and then just let go. I have too much solder there, so I'm gonna have to use the copper thing to suck it up. That should be good, so I'm gonna use this copper wick stuff to help pull the excess solder out. Alright, just like that. Out the excess solder. The smoke is the flux. Okay, can't make it perfect, or maybe somebody can, I can't. But there we go. That's it. So I'm gonna turn that off, set that aside. Sorry, this ended up being extra stuff that you didn't need for your keyboard repair if you just came here to watch for a keyboard repair. But I'm gonna set the soldering iron aside now. Okay. Alright, so we repaired this board. If you want, you can put it back and check, make sure it's lined up, but it should be good. And then you want to kind of clean that up with some rubbing alcohol. Okay, so I use isopropyl alcohol. And then clean off the little excess flux that's all in that area there. I mean, there's no electronic components around it, so it's not really a big deal, but it's always nice to kind of have it cleaned up if you can. The paper's getting stuck under there, so I'm going to brush it off. Okay, it's not perfect, but it's better than broken off from the board. There we go. Okay, so I'll set this board aside now. I need to answer some messages. I'm getting lots of messages from people, but we'll set that aside. Okay, and I'll be back after I respond to some messages. Alright, see you in a bit. Alright, sorry about that, I'm back. So now we remove the board. Okay, let's see, we're going to want to remove the speakers here, so remove the other screws. I set the screws aside for the speaker because of that. Okay, let's remove that, and then there's another screw on this speaker here. Okay, once you remove those two, you can pull the speakers up. So it will be stuck a little bit, you just kind of pull on it. Okay, I don't know if you can see, I'm lifting it up with my nail like that. Okay, and then I'm going to pull this cable out. It's held down a little bit with adhesive. You want to kind of pull from this side to rotate it, and then you can kind of wiggle it to slide it out. It might get caught here. Okay, so keep that in mind. It is kind of dusty on here. Oh, what did I do with the toothbrush? Anyways, you got to take out this one too, same idea. Lift from this side up. There's an adhesive here, so you kind of want to peel this up first slightly, and then you can kind of pull it up this way and wiggle it out. Alright, I'm going to get a toothbrush, clean off those speakers. I'll be back. Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that. I'm going to clean off the speakers. At least a little bit. Okay, use the air blower. Okay, that one's a lot cleaner now. Can do the same thing with the other one. Okay, here you can see it's all dusty. Just brushing that stuff off. It doesn't come out completely, but it gets a lot better. Okay. There we go. So it's a bit better than before. We'll set the speakers aside. Alright. So, like I was saying, we're going to have to remove these plates for the fan. So there's one T5 screw holding this one. The other one doesn't have anything holding it. So remove that T5 screw. Then you I use this little bracket to kind of lift it, as well as underneath here. It kind of gets caught in these little air vent holes, so you kind of have to wiggle and pull it out. And there we go. Set that aside. Okay, this one as well. Kind of lift it up, as well as pulling it here. Just like this. Okay, there we go. Set that aside as well. Alright, clean this up a little bit. It's kind of dusty under, but not too bad. Alright, so we got this out now. Okay, I think... Can I do this without... No, I think I have to actually remove the battery. That sucks. Okay, we're going to have to remove the battery. So, we'll take this tool. I guess this is a complete disassembly. This piece, it peels out. There's an adhesive underneath. You just peel it up. This is the microphone. But I'm not going to show that because almost nobody breaks their microphones. And it's kind of risky peeling that up. Alright, so I'm going to use this tool. And then I'm going to actually scrape the battery out. I'm going to have to put the battery back afterwards. But we have to remove this so that we can get better access to the keyboard. It kind of sucks. Okay, just like that. Alright, same thing with this one. Normally, if I'm just replacing the battery, I wouldn't go from this angle. I'd go from here by lifting up the speaker. But because I have this access, then I'm going to use it. It's a little bit easier. But most people wouldn't want to remove the whole board just to get the battery out. Okay, so just keep that in mind. I'm just going to do it like this for now. Okay, and I can have all this room to access to remove this dumb battery. Okay, so basically we're just cutting all that adhesive under there. Okay, that's all done. Let's flip it around, go to the other side, same thing. Just cut all the adhesive out there. Okay. That all the way underneath, and cut this all up. There we go. Okay, and then the hard part is getting underneath these little pads. You have to lift the battery. There's a slight jump up because of the trackpad, so you kind of have to lift the tool a little higher and then lift that up. Or yeah, I don't think I can peel up the trackpad thing, so I'm going to just cut all the adhesive out. Okay, just like this. Slide the tool underneath and just cut all that adhesive out. Sorry, I know I'm going off the camera, but I can't do it in frame while I'm doing this. It makes it so much harder, so I'm just going to be doing it this way. You do want to be careful because there is the trackpad control board. You don't want to accidentally shove the tool into that, okay? So you do have to be careful. So I'm slowly going down, following this, okay? Just like this. When it gets too far, you can go underneath both pieces, so that way you don't end up like twisting that stuff too far. Okay. And you get the idea. Just go along. Sorry, I know it's out of view, but just do that. Okay. Okay. Just like that. And you want to be careful because if you go too far, you can actually go into the trackpad controller, and then you're going to have to replace the trackpad if you damage that. So, again, you want to be very careful with this. It's one of the most annoying things to replace is the battery on these MacBooks. Okay, that one's out. We're going to switch to this side. Battery and also the keyboard I'm going to have to repair. So those are the two most annoying things to do on this. Apple doesn't even do this. They just swap your drive over and I think your screen to a new one, and probably the logic board. Alright. Just like that. All the way down. So the easiest way, if you don't want to go through all this hassle, you can actually buy the whole keyboard assembly with the palm rest and the battery in it, and then you just transfer your logic board and the screen over. But yeah, it costs quite a bit more, so if you want to do it that way. But this. Almost there. But this basically will show in the video how to replace every component in this thing pretty much, except the trackpad. Okay, there we go. So I got the battery, everything, all the adhesive is cut. So you can lift this up, pull it out like this. Alright, there we go. And then we're going to have to put some new adhesive in these little gaps in between, since the rest is there. And since I'm going to do that, I don't need to peel off all the excess junk. So we'll leave that. Okay. If it does have some loose stuff though, you want to clean it up. But here you can see the trackpad has all these screws holding it in place. So if you wanted to replace the trackpad, you'd have to take all of that out. It's a huge pain because you have to take out that the battery. Anyways, we're going to peel this stuff up. Okay, this is holding down the keyboard cable. Since this keyboard's broken, then we're going to have to peel this off. And then we'll apply this to the new one. So just peel this stuff up like this. Okay. There we go, just like that. So now we have the keyboard cable here. We're going to peel this away from the backlight, just like that. And then we're going to have to peel up this black plastic backlight stuff. So it helps to use a needle for this. What did I do with my little needle that I was using here? Here we go. Okay, so get underneath, just like this. And then peel up this black plastic piece here. You want to be careful because Apple puts like little sharp corners in the thing, so that way when you peel it you end up just tearing it, which usually it can't be helped, it's going to get torn anyways, but kind of like to save as much as possible so it stays intact, as nice and clean as possible. Get out all this extra junk here. Okay. Alright, so we're going to use the needle, go underneath here, because they, as you can see, they put like a sharp turn in the plastic here, so if you just peel it straight up, it'll just tear completely apart. Probably won't be able to help it, it's probably going to tear anyways, but I like to try and keep as much intact as possible. There you go. Peeling that up. Okay. My head's probably going to end up being in the video a lot because I'm trying to see what I'm doing. Okay. Getting underneath with the needle here. Peeling this thing up. Okay, just like that. Peel it up some more. Here it follows that, so now we can kind of peel it up more. Come on. Go. Uh-oh, I'm getting a call. I'll be back. Alright, sorry about that. So anyways, we're going to continue peeling up this stuff. I mean, you can go ahead and just peel it up as at your own pace. You don't need to really watch my video for this. You get the idea. Just kind of peel up the stuff. It's kind of annoying the way Apple sticks it all on here, but I kind of follow it. There's a very good chance that some of it's going to tear, but that's just what you have to deal with. Okay. I'm going to use this little tool, see if it can help me peel this up a little bit easier. Okay, just like this. Keep the keyboard cable out of the way. Keep peeling it up. See, they put these little flat pieces that attach to the wall so that if you peel it, you're very likely going to tear it. But it's just what you got to do, alright? So just keep going, peeling this stuff up. Then there's another sharp turn here, so I'm going to have to peel it from down there. Okay, it's hard to do this on camera. I'm just going to do it, and if it's not in camera, I'm sorry. But peel this stuff up. Okay. All up. There we go. Oops. Too much junk all over. Okay, peel that up. We gotta go underneath this side as well. Lift it up. Good thing is the dust helps. The dusty stuff was helping start the peeled up parts, so it's not too difficult. There we go. And then keep peeling it up. Again, you want to go slowly. Okay, just like this. The middle also has, or this layer also has some adhesive, the plastic one. So you want to be careful with that too. Again, most of it ends up, a lot of times it'll get peeled out, so don't worry, just put it back on. Should be okay. Okay. Just keep going. Here we go. Peel up this stuff as well. There we go. Okay, so now that we got all of that, we should be able to peel this all out. Okay. Try and keep it flat. And then I'm going to have to clean all this dust off outside. Okay, so you can see this is the whole backlight assembly. If you want, they sell these as well, so if it gets all ruined, you can actually get a new one. Anyways, I'm going to stop the video for a bit. I'm going to clean all the dust off of these, and then I'll be back. Alright, so I'm back. Cleaned up the dust. Alright, and I also got a small trash bag. You'll see why in a bit, but we got this. Alright, so the hardest part is getting started. You have to get like a few of these corners because they're all rivets. But once you get out a few of those rivets, then you can actually just rip the whole thing out and it'll come out a lot easier. But let's see if I can show this on camera. I don't know if I can. This is going to be tough. The keyboard did come with little screws to replace the rivets, but a lot of times the rivets actually get torn off and then you can't replace them, so I'd have to replace them with epoxy, but we'll see what we can do. Alright, so first I'm going to do is get a small flathead screwdriver so I can try and get underneath and pop out these rivets. Let's see what side is best to start on. So this side is best to start on because there's like evenly lots of spaced out rivets. So once you get out like these 3 or 4, then you can just get a hold of the keyboard and rip the whole thing out. If you start at the other sides, it's a lot more difficult. So I'm gonna just push up from the bottom to push the keyboard out. Oh man, people are messaging me. And then once I get under there, I just work the flathead screwdriver down to where the rivet is. Okay. And then I try and keep my finger over the rivet, so when I pop it out, hopefully the rivet won't go flying all over the place. Okay. So just do that and try and pop it up. Oh, this one's really stuck. Okay. This is the hardest part, is popping up these rivets. Come on. Might have to use a bigger screwdriver. So this rivet looks like it's going to get destroyed. So I'm going to have to eventually replace that with some epoxy. But anyways, I switched to a larger bit. I'm going to go under. Okay, just like this. And then try and pop it up just like that. Okay, so there we go. Oh, the rivet actually came out. Nice. Okay, it did get caught underneath the keyboard somewhere. I don't know where it went. It fell somewhere. Oh, there we go. Oh, I think I lost it. It fell out somewhere. Well, anyways, I'm going to try and replace it with the screws, so we'll see how it goes. If not, I will try and put some rivets or thread locker, or not thread locker, epoxy in its place. Okay, so we got that one out. So we're going to go over here. Same thing. Get the flathead screwdriver kind of close to the rivet as you can, and then put my finger on top and try and pry this up, or rotate the screwdriver to kind of pry it out. Just like this. There we go. So here you can see it actually popped the top of that rivet off, so we're not going to be able to reuse that one. I'm going to go over here, try the same thing. Okay, get underneath. Get the flathead screwdriver. Okay, and then pop that up. Come on. These rivets are so difficult to remove. There we go. That one got destroyed as well. Shoot. Okay, last one. We're going to try the middle one. And then after that, we're just going to rip the whole keyboard out. Okay? Or we should be able to rip the whole keyboard out. So I'm going to stick the screwdriver in between the slot where the rivet is. Okay? Just like that. And then we're going to try and pry this up. Just like this. Try to pry it out. Man, it's so difficult to do this. Should try. I wonder if I use another tool to do this. Uh-oh, I'm getting a call. I'll be back.